Listening in outside of Colorado, man. It's turned out to be a beautiful day here. So if you're listening outside of Colorado, hopefully it is beautiful where you are. This is Josh with the morning show and president of K4CO Radio. We also have Sarah, vice president of K4CO. How's it going, Sarah?
Hey, it's good. Happy Monday, everybody. It's wonderful to be here. Man, we are in our busy season, that is for sure, which is amazing. So,
yes, we are. Very busy season. A lot of remote
Yes.
broadcasting. We just got off the phone. We're going to be at a music festival up in Evergreen coming up.
Yep. We were at the Donor Dash yesterday at Wash
yeah.
Park, and now, this one is really special for me for many, many different reasons. Of course, we're breaking in with a great interview.
That we are.
This is pretty amazing. I'll give a little preface of who this wonderful gentleman is. We have Mike Foss here with us, and we were actually at Vetstock a couple weeks back at Max Taps here in Colorado. And it is amazing. So Mike is the president of Warrior Bonfire Program. And for those of you that are listening on the K4CO radio app, you can definitely message the station with any questions. But I highly recommend that if you are home listening, and you can access all of our social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Nextdoor. Excuse me, not Nextdoor. I'm on Nextdoor a lot. LinkedIn and YouTube. Definitely send in your questions because this is very special and near and dear to my personal heart. So the Warrior Bonfire Program is a nonprofit that provides opportunities to improve the lives of Purple Heart recipients who are wounded in combat on their lifelong journey of recovery and healing. So it's very impactful for the people that have served and protected with us. So without further ado, Mike, thank you for being here with us.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Vetstock was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, for those that don't know, we were at Vetstock 2025. It was at Max Taps on County Line and University. And Warrior Bonfire put it all together and just absolutely fun and great bands, great Colorado bands were playing. So one thing that K4CO absolutely loves is our military and our veterans. So that's why I've really been looking forward to having you in, Mike. So again, thank you very much for coming in.
Like I
really
said,
appreciate
my pleasure.
it. Yeah, definitely.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, tell all of our listeners and viewers a little bit about Warrior Bonfire Program. Kind of give us the highlights.
All right. Well, to tell you, I kind of got to tell you how we got started.
All right.
And I'll go that short, and then the other part will be a little bit longer, not long. But a guy named Dan Fordyce, a guy that I started my career with, Army career with, way back when in the early '80s. Sometime in 2012, he got this idea that he wanted to take some wounded veterans on a deer hunt. Him and his brother have a great piece of property in Mississippi for deer hunting, and so Dan, being who Dan is, he calls Walter Reed, BAMC, Balboa, all these big military hospitals. Hey, I want to take, and they're all like, "Who the heck are you? Go away! Don't call back." so he figured, maybe I should start a nonprofit and somebody'd listen to me, and so in reality. Warrior Bonfire is a multifaceted, simplistic organization. How's that for
I
a bunch
like
of gobbledygook?
Well, it's a wonderful dichotomy.
But what the Warrior Bonfire does at its core is take Purple Heart recipients, those guys wounded in battle at the hand of the enemy, on small group retreats. A small group, and it's 6 at a time, and on small group retreats around the country, centered on recreational therapy. There's healing in the great outdoors. So, and anybody that doesn't think there's healing in the great outdoors, did you ever go have a crappy day in the office, go walk around the parking lot, and come back and feel a little bit better?
All the
That's
time.
recreational therapy. Mm-hmm. Now, we do a lot more than parking lots. We do skiing, fishing, hunting, snowmobiling, surfing, kayaking, canoe, whatever, golfing. There's a bunch of stuff we've done. But what we're trying to do at these retreats is the healing through recreation. But it's really trying to build support communities for them, foster their healing and improve and save their lives. And so if you look at the fundamentals of a bonfire trip, it's everybody day one gets together to wherever we're going. I was just on one in Minnesota, and we had a vacation rental home on a lake, and so that first night everybody gets settled in and all that kind of stuff, and then everybody tells their story. And I got to say that I can only think of a couple times where the word suicide didn't get interjected into that storytelling. A lot of times there's contemplated suicide. There's been a few tried suicide but failed, thank God. But the reason why we do this telling your story is because they've all kind of been through the same thing, but just different. The way they got injured, what's going on with their post-traumatic stress, all that kind of stuff. So they share that, and that creates that bond where they can really open up with each other. The other kind of formal thing we do, kind of a crappy name, we can't think anything better though, is we sit down and talk about, have a coping session. How do you cope with things? And the idea is for them to share with each other different ideas of coping with things. And these coping sessions can, talk about physical injuries. They can talk about post-traumatic stress, dealing with the VA, raising children, jobs, whatever they want to talk about, and they talk about that. And the third thing is, with Warrior Bonfire program, we got to have a fire, right? So we have a fire. Now, typically, it's not a bonfire. Every once in a while, it's a burial if you have a fire band. But what we do is we retire a U.S. flag, and we do it a little different. First of all, we use an old Boy Scout ceremony for the ceremony to retire the flag. And believe it or not, there are formal ceremonies. And then when it comes to retiring the flag, rather than taking a folded flag and placing it on the fire, we prepare it ahead of time, and everybody gets a red stripe, a white stripe, and a blue stripe. And as they put those different stripes in the fire, they're doing it in honor of a fallen comrade. And I'll tell you a little story. Remind me a little story right after I say this. And so that creates in the mind of the guy that's got survivor's guilt, because somebody it should have been him, not his buddy. That kicks in their mind. Hey, I got to keep going. That guy, was killed to save me, and so I got to keep going. And then the other thing, and we never even thought about this. A lot of these guys were medevaced right out after they were injured, and they lost a buddy in that same IED attack or firefight or whatever it was, and they never got a chance to say goodbye. Here's an opportunity to say goodbye. And so this past weekend on the bonfire retreat I was on in Minnesota, my uncle was there. And he's a veteran. He's 90 years old. And so we brought him into the bonfire. And afterwards, because he retired, 3 stripes in honor of some people that he lost. And I'm walking away with him, and he said, I haven't thought about those guys in years. Because these are guys, World War II guys that he's honoring. And so it's a pretty cool thing. And it's a very healing thing. And then when you look at the support communities, excuse me, one thing that we have found and is that people that have been through trauma of any kind in their life can only truly open up to somebody that's about it, to somebody that's been through it.
Right.
And so that's building support communities. And I'm going to give you 3 examples, okay? Simplistic, example, kind of a happy traumatic event, the first one. Woman has a baby. That's traumatic.
Mm-hmm.
It's happy, but it's traumatic. And guess what, Josh? You and I can't get it, no matter how many times we've been in the room.
Right.
We can get it a little bit, but so a woman that's been through childbirth really only can talk about it with another woman that's been through childbirth.
It really only feels comfortable to talk about it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then the next example I like to use is, and this is for people to kind of grasp the idea that I'm talking about. I don't know if y'all remember the shooting at Arapahoe High School in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
My son was a senior. He was 2 classrooms away from where everything happened. And in reality, he's never talked to us, me and my wife and his brother and sister, about that day. Who did he talk to? Classmates, teachers, coaches, people that were in that building.
Right.
And then the third example is a military example. Our founder, Dan, used to interview World War II veterans for the World War II Museum in New Orleans. And Dan was interviewing this guy named Philip Cassio. And Philip had been in a B-17 bomber going over the English Channel. They got shot down. They were able to land in the water and get in a lifeboat, but they were captured by the Germans. And Philip spent 811 days in a Nazi POW camp. And what he told Dan when he was being interviewed, and you got to remember, this was in 2016, so it was 71 years after the war, and the guy was 97 years old at the time. And he told Dan that throughout his life, he would get nightmares, what you and I call post-traumatic stress. And what he would do was call up one of his buddies that had been in the POW camp with him, talk it out, and then he'd be good. Then he told Dan, now all those guys are gone, I don't have anyone to talk to. I got nightmares almost every day. So that's what I think is the biggest thing we're trying to do, is give them that community, a big community that they can reach out to when they need to. And then the other thing I want to share with you is, we do these bonfire retreats, and we do them all over the country, and we do them for Purple Heart recipients. But a lot of times, the spouses of those Purple Heart recipients, they may not have post-traumatic stress. They might not have a traumatic brain injury. They might not have an amputated leg, but they're living with it, okay? So they need that support community. So we do what we call Strong Heart Spouses Bonfire Trips. Now, the first thing is we're either one of 2 or one of 4. We're kind of trying to figure it out. Organizations that serves Purple Heart recipients that is actually serving the spouses as well. But we mirror the basics of the retreats. While the activities might be a little different, but we do the storytelling, we do the coping session, we do the bonfire, and we do the same things with couples retreats. And the reason why we do couples retreats is there's a high level of percentage of divorce in this country. I think it's like about 50%. I think it's about, if I remember correctly, 75% amongst combat veterans. And so we do the same kind of thing, get these couples together. We do, like I say, the activities are different, but everything stays the same. And we just finished a spouses trip up in Grand County, and we're just getting ready to start a couples trip in Southern California.
That is really awesome that you include spouses in there, because I know quite a few veterans, and yeah, I mean, everything that they're going through, of course, they're not going to talk to their spouse about it, just like they want to speak to people who have been there.
Right.
but the spouse still has to be with them, still be a rock for them, still be a support system. So during these spouse retreats, you say it kind of mirrors it. So instead of the military veteran, the Purple Heart recipient, sharing stories, is it the spouses that kind of share their lives with
Right.
their spouse?
Yep.
And then you guys also have a Strong Hearts couples retreat
Correct.
too. Tell us a little bit about that one.
Well, like I said about the couples retreats, it mirrors it with as far as we do activities, we tell stories, we talk about coping, and we do a bonfire. But we also do some outdoor activities, and we also do there's a series of books called The Love Language, and we go through some things with that. As far as discussions and stuff like that, just to, it's tough. Marriage is tough no matter what, right? And then when you've got other things, hitting at the marriage,
Right.
it makes it even tougher. And if we can save a couple, we're doing a good thing.
That is so true. Well, for those of you, I want to give you the website. It's warriorbonfireprogram.org. If you know someone who's been affected, who has served, who's a Purple Heart recipient, definitely check out. Again, it's warriorbonfireprogram.org to find out more information. You can also email them at info@warriorbonfireprogram.org. And there's also a phone number to reach out as well. That's 601-994-3266. And there's so many things that you hit on that are so incredible and valuable. To have a skill set with anyone. I think when you have a very traumatic experience, we just had another gal come in who was talking about firefighters and police officers, that the average civilian goes through 3 different traumatic experiences per lifetime, let alone when you have a very big event like serving and protecting and being involved in a war. That is a different trauma that I can't relate to. I've never served. I've had lots of family members who have. But to have that camaraderie and then to learn a very different skill set. It is coping skills. But I love that you extend it, like Josh said, to spouses and to other family members, because we don't, as maybe civilians, know how to relate. So I love that you all have that foundation to provide to people. It's very crucial and important. So thank you.
You bet. And one of the cool things that we've been moving towards the last few years is we call it Beyond the Bonfire. There's healing and stuff that the guys get on the bonfire, but now a lot of them want to give back. So we have, and it's just amazing. I think the number is 12. We've got 12 Purple Heart recipients that are now leading bonfire retreats. In fact, the one I was on this past weekend, I was up. It was his first one leading, and I was up there reviewing him. And now he's able to go off on his own. And so that's really cool because you've got the server being served. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
And
paying
then,
it forward.
And we a lot of them come to us. We got a couple guys that are they call every new registrant we get. They call and welcome, tell them about the organization, how to get how to go through it and all that kind of stuff. We got pardon me. We got a guy out in California that just put on this fabulous bonfire trip. Excuse me. They went to NASCAR races. They went, we don't allow alcohol, but we allowed them to go tour the winery, and they just had a great job. And that was put on by one of our Purple Hearts. And then we got a guy that came to us and said, "Hey, I want to, go to trade shows and set up a booth and talk to people about the Warrior Bonfire." Had a guy down in Texas that went to his local Toyota dealership and got us a donation. So it's really cool seeing them wanting to give back and serve their fellow Purple Hearts and to serve the organization. It's quite makes you feel good.
And what you're referring to is going in and starting to serve after being served. That's the Beyond the Bonfire.
Yes.
That you were talking about.
Yeah.
I was. I'm glad you brought that up because that was definitely. I was going to ask about that. And a lot of times, I mean, people are helping outside of Colorado. I see on the website. I mean, you guys have a footprint in Mississippi, Louisiana, New York.
I think we have done bonfire retreats, if I'm correct, 37 states.
37 states.
37 states.
Wow.
And, we're trying to add, 37 states plus Puerto Rico. We've got an in going to Puerto Rico. But we're trying to increase that to the point where we've been in all 50 states. Because if you think about it, the people we're serving come from all 50 states and Puerto Rico and Guam and the other territories. So our goal is to get out there now. Hawaii and Alaska, just with the cost of it, they might come last. I'm not saying they will, but that's going to be more expensive to get to Hawaii or Alaska. But we also have a couple of inns in both of those places too. But.
Yeah, I would think Hawaii would be a big one, actually. And I'm curious, you have kind of different chapters, but for those that are listening and watching, if they themselves have not served or they're not married to one, are there different facets where people can get involved?
Yeah, well, let me first of all correct you. We don't have any chapters.
Okay.
No, it's one organization.
Okay.
We have kind of, I'm going to say, like we're headquartered in Colorado.
Okay.
We're founded in Vicksburg, and then but then we got our VP lives in Birmingham, so we got somebody in Birmingham, and another staff member lives outside of Baltimore. So
Okay.
But yeah, we don't do chapters. That's a whole different IRS.
Gotcha. Thank you for correcting me.
Right.
So
how can people get involved for volunteering, for sponsoring?
Well, there's on our website. There's a bunch of things. All right, there's a donate button. You can donate to us. When we have special events, you can go look at fundraisers and click on that, and get a ticket or sponsor an event or anything, and you're going to talk about that in a little bit, I know. But and then there's also a drop down on the drop down page to the left. There's a volunteer thing, and you can sign up to be a volunteer. Now I'm going to say it out here that most of the time when someone says they want to volunteer, I'll call them, talk to them a little bit, go through a few different opportunities. But typically I send them away and have them really think about how they want to, what they want to do. Because I've been running volunteers since my kids were this high. And if you get a volunteer, you want to keep that volunteer. Mm-hmm. So you don't want them doing something they don't want to do. Mm-hmm. You don't want to give them something that's got too much work, too little work, because if you do that, they're just going to walk away. But people can volunteer, and then we'll just call or email you back and talk to you. And I'll tell you a few stories about volunteers with the Warrior Bonfire program. It's simply amazing how many people want to help. And before I give you these examples, I'll tell you that a lot of veterans think that civilians don't understand or don't care, and that's simply because the civilian hasn't figured out a way to thank them or to show them that they care. Because I think our population appreciates their veterans. They just don't know how to show it.
I would actually agree with that
Yeah.
too. Our vice president, who we lost earlier this year, he was a Navy SEAL during Vietnam, and he didn't talk a lot about the war with us.
Yeah.
I mean, he talked
That
about it
can-
with his friends, and a lot of times he said, he didn't like being thanked. Oh, thank for your service. He's just like, it's okay. It wasn't like that didn't hit him at all. So, but not that people shouldn't do that.
Right.
But
They just don't know any other way to thank them.
Exactly.
Other than to say thanks.
exactly.
And I'll give you a couple examples. And this is going to be a little bit long story. But we do a annual ski trip up in Grand County. Skiing, snowmobiling, tubing, ice fishing, and we go and do the hot springs. But when the guy calls me up about 8 years ago about ice fishing, my first thought is, okay, ice fishing, this is going to be like me and my dad and brother. When my dad would drive out on the ice, we'd all get out of the car, hand auger holes in the ice, and sit on 5-gallon buckets all day in 20 below weather. That's not what happens on our ice. But that was my first thought. But that's not what happened when we go ice fishing. They treat these guys like royalty, and they pick them up on the side of the lake, and they scout the lake out ahead of time. They set up all the ice fishing tents and get them all heated, get fish finders and all that kind of stuff. And then they do a fish fry out on Lake Granby, that's just one example. And then, and we have things like that all over the country. Southeast Texas, we went down. They had this one town in Southeast Texas called Bridge City. I guess. Oh, that's another place I was at when I didn't tell you when I was telling you how many places I've been lately. But they had this little small town. They had their big festival, and there's a slew of people helping our guys, setting them for fishing, getting them fed, driving them around where they need to be, and it's like that all over the country. I could go to over and over and over again different places where people do different things, try to get off my high horse, but Americans care about their veterans, and they care about each other. We might not hear that, but that's who the people we are, what kind of people we are.
I totally agree. I always say we're media, but we're not media. I mean, I steer away from a lot of that because it paints such a small percentage of who we really are.
Yeah.
I think we're very community oriented and want to help support and have that hand to reach out.
And we're the most giving people on the planet.
I totally agree. I mean, here in Colorado alone, we have roughly 76,000 different nonprofits, and that's not because we don't care. It's because we are here to help each other.
Right.
And I think that the one thing is, if those of you that are listening that you have served and maybe you're hurting today or hurting for whatever reason, is you're not alone.
Or if you know somebody.
If you know someone, exactly. Tell them, say, hey, there's someone out there who's been in your shoes. There's an outlet, there's community. You're not alone. Find that support system and coping skills. I think I will speak for myself. When you go through a traumatic event and you haven't been through it before, I didn't know how to cope because I didn't have the skills yet. So you have to get with other people that have been through that experience to go figure out what you're going to do.
I mean, and I'm not saying that people don't need, clinical help. Clinical mental health. I mean, some people do. Some people need spiritual. Some people need more nature. Whatever. But the main thing is you're not going to open up unless it's to another person that's been through similar things.
Exactly.
It just time and time again. That's
very true.
What I see.
How many different? I know you personally have been on too many bonfires in just a month. I mean, I can't get over how you're just a moving target. How many roughly per year would you say that there are?
This year, we're going to probably end up with 37.
Okay.
Wow.
That's getting after it.
That's getting after it. Whereas Helen, our VP, said she looked the other day, and I can't remember what, and I think she said it was 2014. Might have been, but we did 4.
Wow.
And we're growing. We're not growing at a super fast rate because we can't. One of the things that we have to be careful of is donations coming in have to either meet or exceed the number of Purple Hearts we got registered with us. Okay, because the worst thing I can do is say, "Hey, Joe Purple Heart, sign up and go on this trip." Oh, we don't got money for you.
Right.
Then I'm going to lose that guy forever. So we try to balance it, and that's why I say, we're planning 37, but if something changes with funds, it might be 35 or it might be 39.
Right.
If something changes, because that donation stuff is hard to. Hard to say, this is what we're going to get next year.
Yep.
It doesn't happen that way.
I wish I had the crystal ball as well.
Yeah.
And speaking about that, one reason why you're here is the 2025 Diamonds and Dog Tags, and I kind of like that name. How'd that name come about?
We had an employee that this was in 2017. She she left. She left right after that. She wasn't the best employee in the world. But we had a meeting with volunteers, and everybody's throwing out ideas, and she threw that idea out there, and it has stuck. And she's the ex-wife of one of our Purple Hearts, but that's where it came from.
I love it.
And this year, it's at Cable Land Mansion. This is 4150 East Shangri-La Drive. August 9th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. You can go to warriorbonfireprogram.org. Check it out, Diamonds and Dog Tags, and presented by Vehicles for Veterans and benefiting the Warrior Bonfire Program and Purple Heart recipients. Save the date, so check it out. You got a lot of stuff going on this, and one of my favorite, we're radio, we love music, we love Vetstock. You have Dave Bray, USA, who's going to be performing. Have you seen him?
Yeah, we actually did our Diamonds and Dog Tags in the Hudson Valley of New York last year, and he was our our musician. He's great.
Well, he's already messaged the station saying he's just really, really excited and stoked to do it again. So, but you have Daybreak USA live performance from him. You have the U.S. flag retirement ceremony that you do after every retreat. You have drinks, food, and keynote speakers, Purple Heart panel and spouse, and then Master of Ceremonies Ross Kaminsky with 850 KOA. This just sounds awesome, and a silent auction as well. So is this one of the main just big events that you guys pull?
It's our biggest fundraiser. And that's what, let's face it, that's what it's for. It's a fundraiser.
Yeah.
But we don't get fancy. We got to spend money on it, but we try not to. We don't need to go overboard.
It's not like a gala and tuxedos.
It's a nonprofit.
Yeah.
If I pay $25,000 for a venue, I'm stupid. I'm wasting money. I'm not going to tell you how much the venue I have costs. It's public knowledge, but it's a heck of a lot cheaper than a lot of places, and it's only available to Colorado nonprofits.
Nice.
Well, on that note, it's gotta love it. Again, this is taking place on Saturday, August 9th. Tickets are still available. One thing I also wanted to mention, if you want to sponsor this, if you work for a company, definitely check that out. Sponsorship deadline is June 30th. Again, you can go to warriorbonfireprogram.org for more information. The event is Saturday, August 9th from 5 to 10 p.m. at Cableland Mansion. I'm with Josh. I love the name 2025 Diamonds and Dog Tags. It's very cool. And I love the attire. It's purple and diamonds. So, I mean, girls.
I got to figure out. I don't have either.
I don't really either. I mean, it's.
I got to
think
correct. No, I'm not correcting you because you got the right information. But yeah, we closed on sponsorships, but that's just to get people
Okay.
to.
Okay.
That date was just to get people. We're still taking sponsorships.
Okay.
We will till the day of the event.
Right.
Gotcha.
But
Right.
that June 30th was just okay. Sign up. Oh, I got to do that.
For sure. Put a little heat on the
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely get out and galas are fun. Wherever you are, it's always fun. I love the silent auctions, and I get to spend money and go buy stuff. And
There's always
support a
some
great
pretty
cause.
cool stuff in there. Exactly.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So check it out right there. How many times? How many times have you done diamonds and dog tags?
The first one was in 2018
Okay.
in Jackson, Mississippi. And then I think 2019 was still in Jackson. And then we moved to Denver, Jackson, and then we did New York last year for some reason. The COVID one in 2020, it's kind of hard to, get people in the room. But we had about 50 people in the room, but most of them were volunteers and everybody's wearing a mask. But
6 feet apart.
yeah.
Right.
Well, yeah, we did 6 feet apart. That's right. We did do 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
Not really. We tried.
Nice.
Well, so tell us a little bit more about what people should expect from this place. You have appetizers, you have drinks, you have keynote speakers. What are the keynote speakers? What is kind of their role in here?
What we're going to do is we're going to have a panel
Okay.
of 2 Purple Hearts and a Purple Heart spouse. And our MC is going to ask them questions, that would be maybe of interest to the group. What has the Warrior Bonfire done for you? How did you get wounded? I don't know what he's going to ask. He gets to pick what he's asking.
Okay.
But we're trying this, as kind of a change from the, got to go, rent a guest speaker. We've had some good guest speakers, but we're trying to think that maybe some of our folks should be our speakers. Because they're the ones that we're serving, so they're the ones that are getting something out of it.
And making it a little bit more interactive where you
yeah,
can ask
yeah.
questions
Right.
to the panel. And all the speakers and the spouse, they've been through Warrior Bonfire program. They've
Yes.
been to a lot of them,
Yep.
so they know everything about it.
Probably not everything, but yeah.
A lot. A lot of what it's done.
Remember, a lot of them got traumatic brain injuries.
Yep.
I'm just joking.
I want to kind of get to, so you've worked and seen a lot of different Purple Heart recipients doing this. I was wondering if I can ask you to share a story from your past that with a recipient or with a Purple Heart recipient that just kind of reminded you, yes, this is why I do this. This is why this was started.
Okay. Let me think of a good one.
Okay. I know you have so many in your head.
There's a lot of them.
I mean, you guys.
All right.
Okay.
A guy named Kelly. All right. And I can't go through his whole story. People can go on our testimonies page and watch the video with his story. It's not a professional video. I took it, but it's a good story. Kelly grew up, had a horrible, dysfunctional family, and grew up not in a great place. Kelly got wounded. Got himself in some trouble with the Army. and he ended up getting what in the military we called chaptered out of the Army, kicked out of the Army. Doesn't matter to us. He has a Purple Heart. That's who we serve.
Right.
And he's been on 2 bonfire retreats. I don't think he's been on 3. We don't limit the number. If you need it, you need it. But he went on a bonfire retreat in South Dakota. And he had been planning to take his life before that when he got home from that bonfire trip. And at the end of it, he wrote down, "Suicide is off the table." And, to me, that's the most important thing we can do is save somebody's life. And, because suicide's an issue in this country, especially amongst our youth and our veterans. And unfortunately, we don't talk enough about it. We I think this is right. The 3 biggest killers of men in America is something to do with their heart. Can't remember the other one, but the third was suicide. And we don't do anything. I shouldn't say we don't do anything about it, but we don't talk about it. It's still taboo to talk about it. And we shouldn't be that way. I know a high school here in Metro Denver that had a couple suicides, and they shut down the whole place and brought in for a week, shut down the place, brought in counselors, therapists, all that kind of stuff to, just to talk to kids. So I think that's the biggest, one of the most important things that we can do is prevent these guys. Give them a couple tools to prevent from taking their lives.
Yeah.
So they all got, and today, Kelly lives in Oregon. He's doing great. He's a snowboarder. For a while, he was talking about starting his own snowboarding nonprofit. And when he talking to a lady that runs a nonprofit in Oregon and me, and he goes, "No, I don't think I want to go to that much." But he's doing well. He's doing well.
I love it. No, and to your point, I'm looking at your website here, warriorbonfireprogram.org. So when people do go and donate, 89% of total funds to programs. And I love this number for therapeutic opportunities. It's 1,692 with a 95% positive impact. That's pretty incredible. Those numbers are amazing, because I think a lot of people, when they think, what am I supporting? What is it going towards? I mean, if you have that type of impact on people that have received this Purple Heart, that's, not to use the word again, but it's very impactful, what they are contributing towards.
We, obviously, we love it when we get a $50,000 check, which doesn't happen very often. But when we get a big donation, this is great. But all the small ones count too.
For sure.
And there's a guy, and I don't know him. He lives in Norfolk, Virginia. Once a month, we get a check in the mail from him. And it's typically it's somewhere between $1.50 and $5. And then every once in a while he puts in a dollar store $5 gift card. That donation counts just as much as the $5,000 donation. It may not do as much, but it's just as much.
For sure.
So anything that anybody can give is greatly appreciated.
I agree. I'm like you. Well, I've been in the nonprofit world for a few decades, and it all adds up. And I hear a lot of people like, well, I don't have the funds. I said, if you want to volunteer, if you want to be here and share your story or just be present, I mean, sometimes that is more than $1 or $5,000. So there are always ways to give. So again, if for those of you that are listening, you can go to warriorbonfireprogram.org. Definitely save the date and get your tickets. Saturday, August 9th, 5 to 10 p.m. is downtown Denver, Cable Land Mansion, 2025 Diamonds and Dog Tags. Definitely get your tickets to go to that and help support the Warrior Bonfire program.
And definitely get ready for some good music. So
Dave is great, and he's entertaining, and he's a veteran.
Okay, nice. I did not know that.
Oh, that's great.
And
Well, no, I think if there's anything else that you wanted to add.
No, just hope to see a bunch of people at Diamonds and Dog Tags.
Okay, absolutely. Again, it's warriorbonfireprogram.org is the website, 601-994-3266. And you can email info@warriorbonfireprogram.org for more information. Mike, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
We hope it's a great event for you coming up on August 9th.
And this interview is going to be on our social media, K4CO Radio social media for the next month. However, on YouTube, it is always going to be there. If you watch this, got in a little bit late, definitely rewatch the whole thing. Warrior Bonfire Program, just an amazing program. We were at Vetstock 2025 at Max Taps, and just awesome music, a great cause. And then check out the 2025 Diamonds and Dog Tags. If you like this, share it. Let people know if you know a veteran or if you yourself are one. Definitely check it out. Thank you very much for tuning in. Definitely make sure to listen to 1 solid hour of only Colorado artists. That is every single day of the week, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then tonight, of course, we have another new episode of Kind of Vague Radio, all Colorado artists. And your hosts, Andrew and Rob, really kind of scour the Colorado streets looking for some great music for you guys. So thank you very much for tuning in. This has been K4CO Radio. You guys have a wonderful Monday night, and we'll see you soon.